Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bluddworth, and this is another OSR Tabletop live stream. Hold on a second. So anyway, sorry about that. So welcome, and if, as always, if anyone wants to jump in to the stream, you're welcome to do so. I will post the invite here. And basically what I'm going to be doing is just talking about my, my week in my weekend. Sorry, I actually have work-related emails taking place here, or text. And I'll be right with you. Hold on. There we go. Hopefully that's it. So hey, how's it going? Decado, good to see you. And Mirador, hopefully I just saw him. Hopefully he pops in. And did I post the thing? I did. So if you want to jump in, you're certainly welcome to do so. And I'll wait for some others to pop on. You too. And I'm talking with my former secretary, still trying to hammer out some things with payroll. Did you get this red sun and orange sky? Not as much as in Bronx. Okay. So anyway, what's up, Big Bad? How's it going? So yeah, I'm just I'm in the middle of a text chain here with my former secretary, payroll secretary, trying to figure out when I get my my next installment of my unused sick days. As a retired New York City teacher, we get the half of our sick days paid out. Well, usually like January following retirement, and then July, and then the following July. So I'm kind of waiting to see when and how much my July payment is going to be. Should be nice enough to go on vacation. So anyway, let's see. I was at office on Wednesday. Okay. So anyway, yeah, we're talking about the air quality here in New York City, and even some parts of upstate New York where I'm at. It was pretty bad Wednesday, and and even worse on Thursday. But then it started clearing up. I believe this morning it started clearing up, but they started closing down offices, which is why I'm actually available today, because I would normally be heading out to my secondary job that I do above and beyond retirement. So it's so it was a nice little break. I'll have to make up my schedule next week and probably end up working 4 days next week instead of just the typical 2 or 3. So anyway, so chilling, working on shorts as usual. Yeah, I'm just chilling in shorts right now because I'm not working today because things were closed down. Okay, from 1:30 to okay. Anyway, so was going to just do a live stream here and talk a little bit of about my gaming for the week, and Takado taking a break from painting and working on CNC one shot. I am actually, and I'm going to show you what I have going on with my CNC campaign, which is still 5 months down the road, and it's I'm certainly glad that I have 5 months down the road, because I'm working on trying to navigate the Foundry VTT, and I already got some stuff in there, and I'm going to kind of show that off a little bit, and and see what some of you think about it, and talk about it. But as far as the gaming, yeah, you get refill a few days a week, a month, yeah. So anyway, I am still running my AD&D first edition campaign. We just wrapped up session 92. The party is it's a party of seven characters, all levels 8 and 9, 110. And they are delving into an orc lair. It's a very large orc lair, for one. And what I'm discovering is, because initially I was thinking, how can I amp this up and still maintain it as like a believable orc lair, so it's not like you're going to go into an orc lair and you're going to be fighting demi-leash and red dragons and that kind of a thing. So I wanted to keep it where the ecosystem of the lair would make sense, and yet it would still turn out to be a challenge for them. And surprisingly enough, so they're pushing into this orc lair, and in one room in particular, there were 7 fighting 15 orcs, and 2 of which were leveled assassins, just 5th level assassins, and then one was an orcish shaman that was level 10. And so the challenge, really, what I thought would be, was that they would get slowed down by the surge of the ordinary orcs, and but they were able to neutralize the orc shaman's ability, and they made pretty quick work of the 2 orc assassins, even though one managed to get in a really good hit on the on the elven cleric, and I think he did like 17 points of damage with his strike. He didn't get a death kill, but he did get a strike, a double damage strike. And the overall, though, what really started happening was that as they were getting like 4 or 5 attacks coming at them, and there were several natural 20s rolled against them, and then they started fumbling on top of that. And I did kind of a recap in my last one of my previous videos, where I talked about these sessions. But that's the real game changer, I think, with when you have high level characters pushing into a low level lair, let's say, but just the sheer numbers of their rolls coming at the players, even though it's still only a 5% chance of rolling a d20, when you're rolling 15 of them, it starts to become more and more possible for those critical hits to come. Now, I use the critical hits and fumbles chart, option number 5, I believe it is, in in the Castle Keeper's Guide for Castles and Crusades, in my AD&D first edition campaign. And I've been using that now for probably very close to a year, if not even a little bit longer than that. And it really did add a new dynamic to the to the entire campaign. It really did change things up. Absolutely love it. And it's something that my players definitely jumped in and bought in on it. So, and then I use a slightly different system, like with AD&D First Edition has a rule that if you take more than half your total hit points in a single strike or a single shot, that you have to make a system shock check. And so a majority of their system shock checks, which have been 20 to date now, so 20 times up to date, they have to use they've had to make system shock checks. So in 92 sessions, 20 times, the player character really came down to one roll before dying. Now, some of their system shock checks have also been the result of a rules modification that I did. When they have a critical against them, and then I have them roll the d20, and if they roll another 19 or a 20, it becomes an instant death, right? And so I don't let player characters get one shot that way without any recourse whatsoever. So I let them do a system shock check, just to give it like one last little effort, so it's not completely out of their control. And then so far they've been lucky with those as well. So 20 straight system shock checks the group combined has done. I think virtually everybody in the group has had to make at least one, and a couple, I believe, as many as 3. So they've been through the grinder, and it's something that I'm glad that they're showing signs. Their characters are actually showing signs of the nearly 2 years of adventuring, on their bodies, in their physical, features and such. I mean, the paladin is walking around with an eye patch because he had his eye completely obliterated by these orcs. These particular orc lair completely destroyed. So he needs like a full restoration spell in order to return his eyeball first, and then he'll need a cure blindness to fix it beyond that, so that he can actually see. Unfortunately, there's clerics and everything in the group, but none of them can cast that restoration spell yet. That's a pretty high level spell. So waiting on that to occur, and I'm almost hoping, because he's pretty competent. He's a 9th level paladin, so he's pretty darn competent in battle, and it's only one eye, so just a -2 to hit has not really impaired him very much. So I'm hoping that he, decides to just continue on with that. Let me get to some of your things. Yeah, Foundry, I'm going to show it to you, but Foundry does have does really have some nice aspects to it that I prefer over Roll20, and you're going to see it once I show you the interface and everything. There is only one flaw to Foundry, and that is that you have to use a forward portal in order to be able to invite people in, or portal forwarding in order to invite people in, and that takes, like, I'm sorry, I didn't learn to code, so it takes quite a bit, I think, to, and I've listened to a number of videos, and then the easiest solution is to actually sign up for Forge, or the Forge, which is like an extension of Foundry, and that has a monthly fee of $9 a month, but that will obviously give you the ability to just invite people directly in, plus give you a lot of other extras and everything like that. So it's a little bit more. If you wanted to have all the extra storage and everything on Roll20, you still have to pay $9, a month to do that as well. So it's kind of just a different expenditure. $9 a month is not a big deal to me, especially if I'm going to use it quite a bit. So I'm happy to do that anyway. So let's see. I have not used orcs yet in CNC campaigns. Started with kobolds and goblins. Now they're dealing Ungren. All right. Yeah. So yeah, you have to make sure that you make your campaigns so they're not just simply cutting goblins in half. Um, but but if you do, and I'm sure that you do this as well, I mean, your goblins aren't stupid. And that's the big thing that I really latched onto these last couple of weeks is that this layer is going to be a meat grinder if they just try to plod right through it over and over again, without stopping and without retreating and without replenishing. Right now, they are down to like 3 or 4 spells for the entire party. And they have 2 clerics. They have, no, I'm sorry, they have a cleric, a druid, and a magic user. And they used to have 2 clerics. And they have an illusionist, and they're depleted. Yeah, I mean, really depleted as far as spells. They're all walking around with nicks and bruises, some unhealed injuries. And I'll see on this upcoming Tuesday what they're going to do with that. Now, they already know that if they do depart and they look to come back again, it's not like the layer is just going to be sitting there and be unchanged. They're not walking through the rooms that they cleared once already and have them cleared still. So it remains to be seen. We'll see how that works out. I'm using option 5 from the CKG. I made a huge difference in the last boss fight. Yeah, I mean, yeah, option 5 in that is really cool. I love those 2 charts. And there are some other things that I'm going to be taking a look at because I was digging into the Castle Keeper's Guide, and I finally got the 8th printing PDF, which for some reason, like when I first bought the 8th printing book, the PDF wasn't available. I guess it's just recently become available, or I just missed it. It's been out there for months. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting these other couple things. So let me snatch that up while I'm at it. I used my military discount to get them, so I got 2 pretty useful items for $14. So I'm really, pretty happy with that. We're still finishing up a 5e campaign. My DM is using a rules where you can't die until 3rd, but you can be maimed. All right. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of ways that you can modify it to, to suit what you're looking to do with your campaign. I mean, I've always given max hit points at 1st level. But that's pretty much it. If your character's died, and you just re-roll a new one and move on. But you make that death, or at least you try to make that death as meaningful as possible, which is something I mentioned in my last video as well. Yeah, I think everybody uses that. All right, so option 6. I'll show you which option I'm using because I was just running 2 days ago when it's still on my desk. So I am using, yes, I am absolutely using option 5. So here's my option 5 sheet. And so option 6 method is slightly more complex than option 1, but it blurs on the thing. But falls within the same working framework, allowing characters to do more damage on a 2-hit roll that results in a natural 20. A critical hit may result. All right. So when they roll a d20, it's no critical normal damage. On a 6 to 10, it's normal damage plus d4. On an 11 to 14, it's max damage. On a 15 to 17, it's max damage times 2, then max damage times 3, followed by on a d20, on a 20, max damage times 4. Yeah, so that's a much simpler, that's not as complicated as option 5. I just like the nuances of option 5 that are in there though, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, you do max damage at max hit points at first level as well. Yeah, I mean, especially if you're playing some of these older, old school D&D clones inspired by where a magic user will only have a D4, or if you go old school, even a thief only has a D4 as well. I just got my player's handbook. Yeah, I saw that. And adventure pack for Castles and Crusades. Now I just need the Castle Keeper's Guide to plan a campaign for my group. Yeah, you don't actually need the Castle Keeper's Guide, but it's just nice to have. And if you're getting the the homage covers, I mean, these things are absolutely beautiful, and so you should definitely want to get those. Hey, Decato's going to jump in. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Oh, good. I see you're growing out the beard. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
So you got the beard going there.
Much to my wife's regret.
Yeah. I literally I was shaving this morning, and I was looking to just leave this here, and my wife has always been against it, and I was like, yeah, but you know what? I'm freaking retired now. I don't give a shit. But
I went basically almost my entire career being told I couldn't have facial hair. So now I'm like, screw you, everybody. I'm having it.
I remember when I was in the army, when I was much younger, when I was in my early 20s, and I had the mustache, and then to get it for Army standard, it was like the damn thing looked like Adolf Hitler's mustache.
Yeah, not even worth having.
And then when I started teaching, and the kids were like, "Why he's got his hair is shaved and he's got this Adolf Hitler mustache and everything," and I was like, all right, the mustache has got to go. Yeah. But I used to have a full mustache when I was not.
We could have beards towards the end, but like they were fine, and I pushed the regulation limit on it quite a bit. My wife was always like, "You're gonna get in trouble," and I'm like, "I'm leaving in a year. What are they gonna do to me?"
I
was always that way, but
I was almost given a shaving profile because I had this one. There was this one drill sergeant who used to come to me like in the afternoon, like in the late afternoon, and be like, "You got to shave again," and it was like, so shaving for a second time in the same day.
Twice a day.
And then it started bleeding and stuff,
Yeah.
And then once I was done with basic and I was done with advanced training, and I was actually assigned to my unit, there was a motor sergeant who tried to do the same thing, and he was like, "Oh, you got to shave again." It was like, I was getting the 5 o'clock shadow at 3. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, I shaved, 6 hours ago. And it's just not 6, but 4 or 5 hours. And I started, and he was busting my balls over it, but what was I going to do? I was a private first class, and he was an E6. So it's like, all right, I'm going. And then my unit, which was the 800th Military Police Unit, they were very, very territorial about the sections, right? It was so I was in the S4, and which is supply and such, and we were so top heavy because we were a headquarters company. The next above me was a master sergeant. I had no one but a master sergeant above me, and then all of the officers that were in the room we had a lieutenant colonel was the G4. And then there were 2 captains and 2 majors, so even, we didn't even have lieutenants in our section. And as soon as the LT was like, "Master Sergeant, go take care of that shit," he says, "I'm not going to have my driver," because I was his driver. "I'm not going to have my driver, going to the infirmary because his neck is infected because this asshole is making him shave twice a day."
Shave twice a day.
So it got pretty much taken care of real fast. It was like, no, you just mind your own damn business. It didn't help any matters that guy had a shaving profile. So he had a freaking beard. Like he had the, he had a beard, because he couldn't, like, he always get those bubbles on his neck, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, how do you, with a shaving profile, gonna tell somebody else they have to shave twice a day?
Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
hypocritical nature of command sometimes.
So anyway,
Law enforcement was the same way. They do
yeah.
fucked up shit and tell us not to do the same thing. Like, you just did it. Yep.
All right. So let's see what else. So anyway, let me show that thing up there. Let's see if I can pull this off. Now, I don't think I can do both at the same time. So let's see. Oh, all right. But then I got to switch out. So this is the VTT. All right. So this is Foundry, and right away you can see just the difference in the. Let me click off here so you can see it better. So you could already see just the clarity of the picture, and just the interface looks nice and crisp compared to the kind of bare bones that Roll20 is. So they
I
already
hate
have,
Roll20.
yeah, they already have that, right, they got that part straight. So I'm gonna actually switch to that, so I won't be able to monitor so much what I'm doing here, and I'll go in here. So this is your basic interface, and I like the fact that you can set up your banners. So this is the entry. Then I go, and these are the characters. So these are my players in my upcoming group. So I'm still with 10. It's gonna be so, it's gonna be challenging, but many
a lot of people.
Yeah. I think it's going to be easier than when I had 10 with AD&D First Edition, because just the dice mechanics of combat is so much easier, so much streamlined. So much easier and streamlined. And even though AD&D isn't really super heavy with various abilities, especially at first level, it's still going to be a bit of a challenge. I'm still trying to figure out some of these things. So, like looking at these, like I'll go on Ainsworth here, which is a ranger, and I'll go in here, and you see that you can do the identity, and you could put these things. Everyone needs to be able to see it. That's the character it represents, and you actually connect them to. That's what this link actor data to it, and that way when they make a change on their character sheet, it will automatically come over here. The one thing I don't know how to do is to make their names larger underneath. I don't know if that's this coordinates pixels. I'm not quite sure what that refers to yet. I'm going to mess around with it. Or this elevation in feet. Oh, so this is elevation. You see that? I don't know what that's supposed to be for either. Because you can see they all have like this 1 foot. I thought when I put in this little thing here, there's a little icon on the side. I thought I'll use that as movement rate, so I know how much they each move. Yeah, and then so under appearance, the dimensions, grid spaces, that's just to make these a little bit larger so you can see them. And then I don't know what mirror imaging is, if you want to flip them around, and so on. Vision, you can give them advanced vision. So there's basic dark vision, monochromatic, tremor sense, and light amplification. I'm thinking, I wish they had it like the actual Castles and Crusades terminology, but I'm thinking light amplification might be dusk vision, dark vision. So I might go with that and see if that actually works out well. And then their resources, I'm just only showing the data of hit points and armor class, as far as that, because it's the only thing they really need to see. So armor classes on top and hit points are on the bottom. All right. And not all of their data is in yet, or actually none of their data is in yet. So yeah, this is where I thought this is elevation, but I'm going to use that as their movement rates.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's important in CNC.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important in CNC. And then we go to, this is the other thing I really like with the system is that you can create these little tabs here and it actually organizes it much, much easier than on Roll20. And so I started inputting the, how come this is not working? Oh, no, I don't want to make, let's see. How come? All right. My monsters aren't clicking. I thought I put some, humanoids. I did this one. There they are. So I have my archers, goblin archer, goblin warrior, hobgoblin, and wolf. This is kind of be like the first, one of the first things they do. And then you just drag it and you plop it. And then this is the only part that you have to really mess around with appearance. And let's make him 4 and 4. Update token. Oh, he's real tiny.
Oh yeah, he's small.
All right. Yeah, he's still real tiny, even at that. So ratio. There we go. Yeah. All right. So ratio 1 to 1. And let's update that. All right. Now he's the right size. And then here we go to resources, and I just need to put his armor value here. But you could start to see that a lot of it's still manual. I have to create his token and everything like that, but it has now his AC is 14 up top. He has 4 hit points, so at least carried over directly. So I know that they're tied to each other. Their data is tied. I just have to change his token up, put it in one of these circles. So that's all I put in for the first adventure. Now the Castles and Crusades quick start, I'll show that off. So you have your pre-gens, and let's take a look at one of these guys. So this is their pre-gen character. So this comes with the free download from Castles and Crusades, from Troll Lord Games. And so this is their character setup. And we have all these assets now that we can actually start dropping in. So it has the compendium that backs us up. So now when you type in mace/heavy, everyone's mace is going to look like this. And then I will make an attack. Now I added a couple other, let's go on this here.
Nice map.
Yeah, that's a map. My players shouldn't see this actually, but it's all right.
Look away.
So you just made an attack, and that was a 19. So with the +1/+1, so really a 21 total. And then you have to roll. This is the only other thing I'm not crazy about, is that you have to roll damage separately. Only did a 1, which should have applied the strength bonus to that. So I'm wondering if they just need to modify this item and put a
maybe something there.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, guess
that's what it looks like it should do, but
yeah, let's try that again. So there's a 20, natural 20.
Oh, nice.
and then damage, a 6. Nope, it's still not doing it. Yeah, I got to see why it's not tying the strength bonus in with the melee attack. Yeah, that's strange. I can always tie that in directly here anyway. I could do a +1 and do that. So a few things still need to be tweaked, and they're only in their early stages as well. Troll Lord Games, they're still updating their compendium. So here's the compendium pack, and this is what you have, and you can import all of these. So which I haven't done yet. I have to do this whole thing.
There are a
Character,
lot of their books in it. Like you can,
yeah, like
because how it works.
they'll import. Why isn't it import all? Oh, I can import all of this, so it will add in 34 actors. All right, so that's player characters, monsters, and NPCs. 253 items, 3 journal entries, 6 scenes, and 30 folders. So once I install all of it, I'll have access to all of that stuff. I wish I could just, I don't want to import all, but I guess I have to. Oh no, I could do that. All right. Oh, yes. Oh, okay, that's cool. All right, see, this is unscripted and unchained. I'm learning stuff as I go along right here. So here's the actors, and where's the other one? There it is. Let's see, Adventure of the Wizard's Tower, player combat reference. Let's see. Okay. All right, that's just a card. Let's close that. Now let's see what else we have in here. We have, I don't see anything else. Let's see if we suddenly have in over here, items, items, armor. There we go. Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's gonna be awesome. All right. So now, I think now all I have to do is, even if I come off of these things, if I come here and I go, let's go to this character here. No, I want to go to his character sheet, actually. I got to figure that out. Now I think I could just drag in to these player characters those items and just drop them in to their character sheets, and that'll work. All right, cool. So anyway, there's a lot here that's you know, that I really like. I think that the interface is looks a lot better too, and I just like some of the things. I added the dice roller in, and I was able to customize the die as well. So so that's why that has a, you know, a different look than someone else might have, and you know, so we can just do a D100 and 94.
Nice.
Yeah.
It rolls high.
So yeah, I'm sure it won't always do that, or it'll do it when I don't want it to. So anyway, so so yeah, pretty cool stuff. It's a bit of a learning curve, but I guess Roll20 was too. But Roll20, even after all of these years, Roll20 is still glitchy.
Oh my god!
Still glitches.
We use it
lighting effects.
We use it on Tuesday nights, and I play in a couple different games that they rotate Tuesday night. Whoever is DMing, and I freaking hate it. Like I hate it. We waste so much time with it. Like I sat there one time on more than one occasion, and I timed it like the DM, and it no fault of his. It's just trying to get it to work, and it literally like 8 minutes went by where we were just sitting there while he was trying to get it to work, and I'm like. And I get why they do it, because in the adventures we're in, they have the maps and everything. So the maps are really nice, because the places we're at, it'd be really hard to do it like with any sort of other representation. But oh god, I hate it. It just takes me right out of the game. Like as soon as that stuff, I've played with DMs that like my Call of Cthulhu, when I played that online during COVID, that DM knew what he was doing, and even he would struggle with it sometimes because it just decides to do something different.
Yeah,
and,
I even
we didn't use it as much in that campaign, but in the D&D stuff, we use it a lot more. And I hate it.
Yeah, I stopped using the lighting effects. I was like, ah, screw that. It was
Mm,
just too glitchy, and it was like, and then
yeah,
I like to import maps. Like I import, like I import, the Caves of Chaos. I was like, I'm not doing the
yep,
lighting. You have to lay down every freaking line to outline all of those lines inside that thing. I was like, hell no,
yeah.
I'm not doing that
That's a
by
pain
hand.
in the butt.
Um, so all I did is I do the fog of war across the whole thing, and then I reveal it in sections as they're exploring, right? And
Right.
that's that essentially does the same thing. I'm not going to be so nitpicky as to, oh,
Close
like
enough.
you could see this far, you could see that far, or whatever. I just kind of, you know, just hand wave that for the most part, and just let them reveal as they go forward. And I kind of just make a judgment call. It was like, would you be
Mhm.
able to see this? No, you wouldn't be able to see this yet. Um, using
The
that method,
trade-off of it isn't worth it. Like the
no, it's not. The
complexity
trade-off,
of it, it's just not worth the time and effort to deal
exactly.
with it.
So I'm hoping. I haven't even tested the lighting, of this yet to see how it works. But I will before we actually get rolling with this campaign. Um, I'm probably going to subscribe to the Forge probably in August. That way I could spend the month of August just getting ready. And I'm thinking our campaign, um, our campaign could start at, I'm planning on it starting around the end of September. Now, of course, if they don't get through the summer,
Might be
yeah,
a little quicker.
yeah, if they don't get through this summertime, then we might start earlier. But
Yep.
we'll see. I'm hoping that they'll be able to go through their next couple of challenges that I planned, and or kind of adventure hooks that they'll go through, and hopefully they survive them, and then their characters can retire and
Yep.
become part of the thing. I'm not really big on running campaigns for levels 14 plus. I'd rather, when I look at the world of Greyhawk, and I look at you know every king and queen in the world, they're all like 12, 13,
Yeah.
14. I was like, you're not supposed to be schlepping around doing adventures. You're supposed to be ruling kingdoms by that point.
Yeah.
Um
I'm kind of interested in that only because my last campaign, my 5e campaign that went for 7 years there,
mm,
they ended pretty high, like 17, 18th level. The
yeah,
highest was that level.
yeah,
I'm only interested in that really to see how Castles and Crusades compares to it because
right.
it was a pain in the ass to do it in 5e. Like it was just, they were like the friggin' Avengers running around. It was super
Yeah,
hard to like the
manage. Yeah,
most they got challenged in one combat is when I literally dropped Tiamat on them. Like then
yeah.
they were like, "Oh crap!" But I could throw dragons at them, and they were like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah, no, it's just
So
it's a totally different system. You know what I'm saying?
it
It's like
is. Mm,
it does
yep.
not compare. It does not compare to old D&D. It doesn't compare to Castles and Crusades.
It doesn't even feel like
It
D&D to
just
me, but I grew up
yeah,
playing old
right.
D&D, so it just doesn't
It
feel that way.
doesn't. The times that I've played it about 6 times, and 4 of those times, the every DM did the same thing. It was like there's no death saves, there's no this or that. It's like they got rid of like no short rests, no. I was like, you might as well just play second
Yeah,
edition or third edition D&D then, because
yeah,
you're taking out all of the parts that make it identifiable as 5e. And if you're all like 4 out of the 6, we're all like, nah, this sucks. I was like, they,
yeah. I mean, I can't say I hated it, and I mean, I
yeah,
had some fun. That campaign was a lot of fun. My other one was a lot of fun. I got to actually
mm,
wrap that up before fall, but the system is what killed me, and initially it was okay, and then it just the power creep got so bad with it, in my
right,
opinion, especially when Tasha's hit the shelves. It was really
right,
bad. I just didn't. I was just like, this is, and then having high level characters
yeah,
was just like, man, this is. I need to do something different. And then so I initially started because my group wanted to play 5e, and I started coming up with all these hacks to make
mm,
it feel more like old school D&D,
yeah,
and by the time I hit the 2-page mark, I'm like, I need to find a different system to play. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need 2 pages of house rules. I need a system that works. And then I started looking into. I knew about Castles and Crusades, but I never really took a deep dive into it. And I started to, and I was like, yeah, I think this is it. And then
Yeah.
started playing it, and even my most skeptic 5e player is now he's my most engaged
Yeah.
Castles and Crusades player, and
Yeah.
he's one of my best friends, like a brother to me. And
Yeah.
we have talked about it in depth because he was really on the fence about it,
Mm.
and he's like, you were right about everything you said about 5e, and he's like, this is a way better game than.
Yeah.
He goes, I wish our other 2 games, which are Tuesday night games, are 5e games. He goes, I wish we would convert those games to Castles
Yeah.
and Crusades, and
Yeah.
that's from my most skeptic player.
Yeah. It doesn't take much. You like I said, I've been weaving in, CNC into my AD&D first edition game. I mean, the next thing I would have done is if we were much earlier on, I would have gotten rid of descending armor class and just gone with the siege engine
Mm.
type build.
Well,
But
that's
then
good.
you're essentially playing Castles and Crusades.
Yeah.
If I had known about it, I would have done it way back then. I don't know if I would have gotten the same players though. You know what I'm saying? So I don't
You might not have.
regret, running AD&D for over almost 2 years now, because but a majority of that group, so 7 of my 10 players for CNC, 7 of them are coming from my AD&D campaign. They're all my 7 current players now,
Yep.
and so they're gonna migrate over, and they'll be fine with it because we're a solid group now for 2 years. Actually, some of them,
Established group.
actually, a couple of them are, 2 of them have been with me from my D&D campaign before that. So he's been with me for going on almost 4 years, I'd say.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun to shift over, and we'll break away from some of the other things. I see your Hyperborea behind you. I have mine behind me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. My
So
good friend that owns the local game store. So
yeah,
I run games there. They'll do, promotional things, and
yeah,
we've run these West Marches campaigns. And so he always does something for the DMs that
yeah,
help with that. So we were over there. I was over there one day, and he's like, he lives near it, and he's like, hey, can you stop by my house? And I'm like, yep. So I stopped by his house,
mm,
and he's like, I got something for you. And I'm like, oh, all right. I didn't even, think
yeah,
of anything. And then he comes out, and he's like, here. And he had been to a local con here in Maine,
right,
and the creator of that was at the con too. So he got
mm,
me the books. They're all autographed. I got the map
yeah,
pack. The crazy thing about that was I had just been like researching those books. Like I think I
yeah,
got the PDFs and stuff, and I
mhm,
was like looking at them, and then like out of the blue, he's like, "Oh, here you go,"
yeah.
and they're really cool.
Yeah,
Really cool.
I know someone just recently asked me, might have even been Rational Ginger, if remind me if it was you that said what made me choose CNC over Hyperborea, and my answer to that was that I just happened to have Castles and Crusades first. I was waiting on the Kickstarter to come out, and get the finalized, get the hardcovers. So I don't even like to do videos and do like reviews or first looks until I actually have the physical copy.
Oh,
Um,
I prefer physical books. So I
yeah,
have tons of
I
PDFs,
like to
but
have them both. I like to have the physical
yeah,
book and then the PDF, and then I'll show off the PDF while but I still have it, in hand, and I can say, hey, and you just get a better impression of the quality of the book, obviously,
yeah,
when you have a book, and
yeah, because you can't even talk about that if you don't have it. It's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know,
So to get to your question, Rational Ginger, no, I haven't played Pulp Cthulhu. Very Indiana Jones. So yeah, Indiana Jones is
it's a
a lot
great
of people
system.
talking.
I played a
Yeah.
lot of that.
So yeah, Indiana Jones is I don't expect that the new movie will be good. I know it's already getting
No,
it's gonna be garbage.
sadly,
It's gonna be woke
sadly.
garbage. And just not, Indiana Jones probably. So But anyway, I know there was a recent video from, a person we both know, and
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
oh, well, you know what, Indiana Jones needs to be, 5e needs to do Indiana Jones. I was like, you do realize that there is a TSR Indiana Jones role-playing game, and Wizards of the Coast owns it. All they have to do is reprint. If
Yep.
they don't already have it on drive through, I have to double check. But
Yeah,
I
they
was
might.
like,
I haven't looked.
yeah, they own at least from what I understand, they own the rights to it in that form. It's not like they can put it into a different form. They can't make an Indiana Jones movie, but
Right.
they certainly don't need the fact that Lego has Indiana Jones action figures in order to bring it into Dungeons and Dragons. They already own
Yeah.
the damn IP.
There's been similar videos of recent Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't be
again,
ignoring the fact that Free League has the rights to
yes,
the Lord of the Rings RPG and will do 1,000 times better job
yeah, it's
than
like
Wizards
they're
of the Coast will.
with a lot of these properties. What they do is they piecemeal out the IPs to various different places, right? Um, you know, they don't have, like, Wizards of the Coast has TSR's Conan RPG. They can reproduce that, but they can't make their own Conan RPG. All
Right.
right, because the rights to Conan RPG are owned by the company that just got it from Modiphius, right? Or took it back from Modiphius, whatever. So again, this is something that Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast will never do. They don't have the confidence in themselves to have more than one tabletop RPG, more than one. They can't really split their interest, across multiple things. They'll do reprints. They'll do print on demand. They'll do that on drive through, all day long.
Yeah,
But
it's no effort for them
actually
to
have
do
to
that.
put in any kind of effort to create something new from those, even though they own the IPs, they're not going to do it because they just,
They're very much a low effort company. Like
yeah,
they don't.
and they're grossly understaffed as far as their writing staff is concerned, and they're not very innovative or imaginative. Not very creative as far as their
I
writing
mean,
is concerned.
my
in-
my
in doing
thought is like,
stuff.
what have they innovated since the release of 5e? Nothing. Nothing.
No, it's like their in-house books. Um,
Are the worst ones made
like
for
right
5e?
after, well, actually, up until Mike Merles left.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah, I like
I
Mike
think
Morris.
I think
He was
Mike
like the
Merles
only
was
saving grace
probably the
there.
most talented of their game designers. And
Yeah.
once they shoved him in the basement, because I think he still works for them. But once they
Yeah, he
shoved him
does.
into
I'm
the
pretty sure he
yeah,
does.
once they shoved him into the basement, and don't allow him to do anything D&D related, any longer. I don't know what he works on.
He was
Um,
working on he was like the guy working with Larian Studios on the Baldur's Gate computer game,
okay,
Baldur's
all right.
Gate
So he's
3.
probably doing that. They won't have him touch tabletop role playing. All
No.
right, and that's because they have gone so far astray from his vision for what
Oh
Dungeons and
yeah.
Dragons is, and that's what you're seeing. That's why you're seeing that decline ever since he was removed. Is
Yeah. I
that
remember I saw him on a video and somebody asked him about Greyhawk, and he's like, Greyhawk is my absolute favorite setting.
yeah,
And if we were to ever do, he goes, I would love to do a Greyhawk book, but only if we could do it right. And I just kind of like, to me, I read between the lines,
yeah?
meaning that's never going to happen.
No, they won't ever touch
Like,
it.
what setting book of the other than the Eberron book, and Matt Mercer, but they didn't write it. Matt Mercer and James
Yeah,
Hake wrote it. The Wild Beyond the Witchlight,
yeah,
no, Wildmount book
yeah.
were good books, but like the Forgotten Realms book they put out sucked. like universally sucked. And then you get like half a setting. You don't get half a setting. It's like they put a little bit of setting stuff with their adventures, but they're not putting out setting books. You're better off getting old stuff.
Fizban's got some pretty good reviews. I said Fizban's.
Yeah, they didn't get raked. I had that book.
Yeah.
Back when I had a bigger 5e Wizards of the Coast 5e collection. It was okay. Like it was okay. Like it wasn't a bad book, but there was no like wow factor to it either. It was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
this
it
is
was
cool.
probably just better than normal. Well, that's like,
Yeah, which it didn't have like the suck factor that a lot of their books
at
have.
least,
It was just like,
at least
okay.
Fizban has connection to dragons, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Big B has no direct, has no connection to giants, none whatsoever. They're just snatching at the name, and I'm like, and I guarantee you,
marketing.
They did not reach out to Robert Kuntz and ask him word one about it, and he won't be given credit for it. They're using his character to sell it, and he's not going to be mentioned in it. And that's the kind of thing that I've seen from them where, they have no problem with erasing artists' names off their own freaking work and putting it out there.
Erased off the poster.
Yeah, they removed his, and then they did it again. All right, they did it again, so they continued it on other, image files that they've used. I think on D&D Beyond, they might have done it as well. They just erasing any of the legacy artists, authors, or whatever, erasing all of their names off of anything that they're just snatching on. And it's
so bad. Like, I mean, I grew up playing D&D, been playing it for forever. And I have like no interest at all. Like I was in Walmart and I was going by the little book area that they have. And the Dragonlance book was there. And I love Dragonlance. I mean, it's what got me back into playing D&D. And I just kept on trucking. Like I didn't even stop and thumb through it. I'm like, I have no interest in that because I know it's not going to be any good. Or it's going to be, compared to what
was originally put out. I was flipping through it because I don't have, I didn't buy it. And I do have the PDF, but I got the PDF from a program that I have. I was looking through it, and it's written as a narrative all the way through. And you don't, like, you'll see where they'll have like a draconian, right? And then but there's no stat blocks in the actual module as you're going through it. You know what I'm saying? There's just like, it's like narrative cues throughout the whole thing. And then the monster stat blocks are at the back of the book. And I was like, how impractical is this? It's really not meant to be played like a real D&D module. It's or played like a real D&D game. It's meant to be read through, and it's almost like one of those make your own path adventure type of things.
Sure.
And then it gives you, like, if the players say this, then you just look at this cue, and you just read this passage now. And then if you wanted to, you could flip 150 pages away to get the one stat block that should have been in the writing itself, but is now at the back of the book, and then go back forward again. And then you're supposed to pause and then play the board game, and then pick up from the board game and go back. Now, I hear that the board game is awesome. I hear that the board game
I've heard good things about it. Yeah, I have.
And they say that the module is actually empty without the board game. You know what I'm saying? So it's really designed that you're supposed to use the board game and then re-engage back into the role-playing aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what's supposed to drive the event. But I guarantee you most people aren't going to do that. They're going to read right through that story and just, railroad all the way through it. And, you might have a nuanced step here or there or whatever, but it's going to keep you tight right along the way. And there is probably absolutely no way of the party of heroes failing. and
Oh, probably not.
yeah, yeah. But I'm going to read through it, and I'm going to see how much I can actually dedicate to it without wanting to pull my eyes out, and and then move on from there. I probably won't do very much with it beyond that. Is just glancing through it, like I had
Yeah,
already
I haven't looked at. I thumbed through because I'm in my local shop a fair
done.
amount, and I think I thumbed through the Golden Compass, whatever the hell that
Oh,
anthology
yeah, that
is.
thing, the Golden Vaults.
I didn't I didn't see anything in it that jumped out. I mean, I'm so friggin'
Yeah.
done like biases with 5e. I just don't enjoy it. I mean, I still play it. I was talking to my son about it because he's mostly played 5e and he really likes Castles and Crusades. He was kind of he didn't know if he was going to like it or not when I was talking about switching systems just because he only
Right.
knew 5e, but he's like, no, he really likes it. He's the one
Mm.
that plays the Ranger in my campaign, and really good. That's a really good class, and he really likes it. And even he's running us in an in-person game through a Kobold Press adventure. But even he said that once that's done, he's not gonna be around much. But when he does run a game, it probably won't be 5e. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
I can get him to run some Castles and Crusades.
Yeah, I've been looking through the Kobold Press thing. So I've been looking at the Valiant thing, and I had initially was excited about it, went into it, looked
Mm,
at that very first play test, went through the first 3 paragraphs, and I was like, what the hell is this? It's already said to me 5 times in the first 3 paragraphs, refer back to the 5th edition player's
yeah.
handbook. And I was like, oh, this is not a new system,
Nope.
but they were promising a new system initially. Then when Wizards of the Coast did the 5.1, SRD dump into that, Kobold Press immediately said, "Oh well, we're just going to make our own version of 5e," and I was
Yeah,
like, "All
they
right,
shifted
I'm
gears.
not I'm not buying I'm not going to buy into something that still requires 5e in order to run it. You're basically making a 5e homebrew." And I was like, I have no
Yeah,
interest in that. So then
yeah.
I recently on a recent Facebook post I put in there, I was like, these are the 5 things that I want to know are have been changed. All right. Otherwise, it's a non-starter for me. I was like, do you have feats at first level? Which they do, and they even added to it on top of that.
Yeah.
Um, then I was like, do you have short rests and long rests, and do you have death saves, and do you have this and that? And then somebody jumped in, kind of like snidely jumped in as I was like, put those first 4 or 5 up there, and they jumped in and they were like, this is clearly not the game for you. All right. And so I was like, all right, well, that must be my answer then, is
Sure.
that, it still has all that crap. I was like, so yeah, you're telling me it still has all of the things that makes 5e, at least for me, unplayable. So why would I buy this thing? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I like that, like in the context of 5e, I like their stuff. It's light years better in quality than what Wizards of the Coast puts out.
Right.
Um, and I had the same thought, like, and I kind of get why they shifted gears because they have so much other material that they could still use with this Valiant system. But I was the same thing. Like I'm reading it and it talks about how it's a more power. The characters are more powerful than typical 5e characters. I'm like, Jesus, they're already Avengers running
I know.
around.
Yeah.
Like, how much more
It's
powerful
like,
do they need to be? Like, they don't need to be more powerful. And my thought was, if I wanted to play a hacked version of 5e, I would just hack it myself.
right.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't
You
need to
don't need to
buy
buy
those
their
books.
$120 books.
Yeah, I don't need them.
To basically have a 5e hack. And
Yeah,
I was like, what got me really was that, where was this boldness? There was no boldness in that. It's
no,
cowardly. It's not bold. It's going and saying we don't want to isolate what we've already had. So you know what you do? You put a conversion
yeah,
chapter in the front of your book,
yep,
and say, hey, if you're coming from 5e, if you have our older materials and you still want to run our older materials, this is how you convert from 5e to our new system. That would be bold. It's not bold to
that's what.
say, you know, and I was brutal with them. I was brutal on like Nerd Immersion's thing. I was like, oh, this is no waving of the black flag. This is waving the white flag. They
Yeah.
capitulated right away within hours of
Yeah.
it going.
They shifted gears
Yeah,
quickly.
within hours of it going, from OGL 1.1 to Creative Commons, they were like, okay, Black Flag is now going to continue supporting 5e. It was within hours they posted that.
Yeah.
I was like, a
There's a
total
there's a
capitulation.
very small publisher called Kwood Publishing, and they put out 5e material. I have their book. Yeah, here's one of their books right here. So they put out like all these different books, like Monsters of the
Okay.
Wilderness, Monsters of the Feyland, and they're 5e books.
Mhm.
But they got a new one. I just backed their Kickstarter. It's a dungeon book. But they're because of all this stuff with the OGL and that stuff,
Right.
they're putting in different systems in the book so you can convert all their
Right.
stuff to like OSE, which is great because
Mhm.
that easily converts to Castles and Crusades. And
Right.
these guys, the guy that they have a podcast that I listen to, and they're literally like old school gamers, like they get it.
Yeah.
They just did a whole great video on alignment and
Mhm.
really good group of guys. I like their books a lot. I got to pick up the Feyland 2 book. I haven't got that. I got the PDF. I don't have the actual book. But they're smart. They're like, hey, we're just gonna. And I remember when all that OGL stuff was going on because I follow them on all their socials, and
Mhm.
I posted a short video on my YouTube channel about, hey, people should support game companies that support gamers, which isn't freaking Wizards of the Coast. So like they were one of them. Seeing Troll Lords was another.
Yeah.
Um, and they responded. They're like, yeah, we have plans and backup plans and all that stuff to get around the OGL thing. So which is
Right.
good.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to, that next system that, is going to, is just going to just keep on moving. I'm glad to see so many publishers out there are including Cobalt Press. I mean, Cobalt Press's Kickstarter is going to break 1 million.
Oh hell
I'm
yeah,
almost certain it
yeah,
will.
yeah.
I'm glad
I'd
that
be shocked.
Shadow Dark broke, 1.3
Yeah,
million. Um,
good for her.
Pathfinder, when they put out their thing, whatever they're doing with their
Yeah.
next iteration, that'll break $1 million if they do, if they go that same route.
Yeah.
Um, some Knave 2, the Questing Beasts, his thing
Oh yeah.
is in like the $600,000 range or something.
Oh wow. Good for
Um,
him.
so yeah, I mean, all of these smaller groups that are looking to do something that's just a little bit different is going to attract more money. And then forget about it once Critical Role comes out. Um,
Yep.
if Dagger Heart, or as I started calling it, Dagger to the Heart, Dagger 2, because that's what it is. It's a dagger to
Yeah,
the
I
heart
hope so.
of WotC.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good. That's
that's
fun.
going to be, if it's a D20 system, which I have no doubt that it will be.
Yeah, I
I
think it
mean,
is. I don't know that for sure, but my
no,
gut says it is.
it's like I saw on somebody else's thing, they pointed out, it was like Critical Role's logo is the freaking D20. So
Yeah.
it just makes sense they're going to use the D20 system for it. They used the Power by Apocalypse for the other one, which is more of a challenge. Again, that one YouTuber that we're both aware of thinks that that's a challenge for D&D. It's not. It's a challenge for Call of Cthulhu.
Totally different game.
All right.
Like
Yeah, it's
cool
it's
system.
it's a challenge for it's thematically Call of Cthulhu. Set in the same time period, set in the same kind of tone to it.
There's a lot like I just watched that stream actually there, the one that they
Yeah,
did. I liked it. It was good.
mhm.
But it's also a lot like this game here from Jesus. Stuff falling every what is that? It's a lot like this. As a matter of fact, they say that this was inspiration for it.
Oh, really?
Vesting. But
Well, yeah,
in the quick start rules, they talk about how Blades in the Dark and this were the
and Vassar.
inspiration for
Yeah,
that game.
yeah,
I played this the other day for like 8 hours. It was very different from D&D, but very cool.
yeah, yeah.
This
So
is Nordic horror.
yeah, yeah. Um, that's put out by Free League.
Free League, yeah.
Yeah,
It was kind of there. From what I understand, it was
their first big.
no, not their first.
No.
Actually, Mutineer Zero is their
Okay.
first
Yes.
game.
Yes. Yes.
And this actually was when they launched it, it did okay, but it didn't kick down any
Great.
doors. But since that, I guess it's blown up. Like
Yeah.
and all their games kind of use the same system, so that it's
Mhm.
easy to jump from game to
Right. One
game.
to the
Like
other. Yeah.
yeah, like I have
Um.
Forbidden Lands and which I
Mhm.
haven't played yet, but I want to run it at some point, and Simba Room, which is and they just I mean there's a company that just kills it every game. Like when I was playing this the other day, we took a break and we were at the game store, and
Mm.
the shop had the Free League Middle Earth
Mhm.
stuff, the 5e stuff, and I couldn't look at the core book because it came shrink wrapped, but the one adventure book they have, we could look through, and me and one of the other guys was looking through it, and it's just the art. I mean, all their books,
Yeah. No, I
the
have it.
art
I
is
have the One
different.
Ring. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have the One Ring.
they
It's
kill it.
like this
Like
stuff
they
is just
just do a
killer. Yeah. I mean, even
fucking
Modifius.
phenomenal
I
job.
mean, their artwork
Yep,
and their layout and everything has always been top notch. I think
yep,
that they've had some hit or misses because their 2D20 system doesn't work with every with
every
every
game.
every game. And their I just think that they mishandled a couple of the IPs that they did pick up. Like Star Trek does not work the way that they put it out there. They should have made that much more open, like open world kind of experience.
Right.
You should have been able to do, you know, they focused too much on just Federation. And then later on they came out with the Klingon, the Klingon thing and being able to play as Klingons, but it was almost like an afterthought. And I was like,
Yeah,
nah, that was just a
they're
miss.
only the only book of theirs that I have is
I mean, the
the
Conan's is
Fallout.
awesome.
That Fallout.
Yeah, the
Yeah, that
Conan
looks
is
awesome.
awesome.
I wish I'd gotten that stuff, but
Yeah, the Conan is absolutely
looks great.
awesome. Perfect for what it's looking to do. Ideal for playing with a GM plus one, for just one player, and one GM
Oh,
running that.
Conan.
It's so it's so in tuned with what it's supposed to be.
But
Go ahead.
that's the impression I got from Fallout. I haven't played it. I have the opportunity, but my schedule doesn't work out. But like having played the video game and opening the book, it's like they did a great job like
Yeah.
importing that feel of like even constructing your character like
Hmm.
you would in the video game. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is really cool.
Yeah,
I
the
got to get
PDF.
over to the shop and
Yeah,
play it.
yeah, I got the PDF for it because it was part of one of those humble bundles. Blah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was part of one of those. So I was all right, cool. I got that there, and Shadow and Sun gave me the core book for Star Trek, and I just started going through it, and I was like, yeah, this is. I'm kind of glad I didn't back that Kickstarter because I would have been
Mm,
like, I was like, I wanted to play an Orion pirate, I wanted to play a
right.
smuggler, I wanted to do this or that, and it was just so geared towards the one thing. John Carter of Mars. I think what killed it with me with that is that I mean, the movie sucked, and so it was like,
Yeah.
if they're
It
building
isn't.
this and looking to build off that movie, I was like, oh, my God, it's going to be horrible, And
Yeah.
I got like some of the early, like the beta tests of it, and was looking through it, and I was like, I just kept on comparing it to Conan, and I was like, yeah, it's not a good match. It's not working, you know.
Because Conan they built right out of Howard's books, right? That's
Right,
what I read.
but it's just the game system lends itself so well
The bit
to
for it.
that theme that it just works. And trying to take that same game system and now apply it to things that are team oriented, like Star Trek, it
Right.
doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
And that was the problem with it, was that it's just conceptually the wrong game system to apply to certain themes and certain IPs. But anyway,
I think that's right. I think that's a thing that some people don't recognize. That like the person we know
yeah,
thinks that 5e would work for anything. No, it won't. Like it
No.
doesn't work well for horror. It doesn't work
Yeah.
well for gritty fantasy. Like
Mhm.
it's not built that way. Like it's not
Yeah.
that's not what that game's designed for.
Yeah.
So why would you? I would rather play a system that is designed for whatever setting that we
Yeah.
need. I run a 5e campaign that is more horror based, and it is a challenge to make it that way. Whereas
Yeah.
you could take a game like Call of Cthulhu or Vyson or
Yeah.
these things that illuminated worlds that are designed for horror,
Yeah.
they're going to do 1,000 times better job. Like
Yeah. No, horror, the horror genre has to have the game system built to it.
yep,
It can't
and
be.
the right players.
Yeah,
You
you
need the right
might be able to
players.
pull it off with some more generic systems like either Savage Worlds or GURPS or something like that.
Yeah,
But even GURPS struggled, I think, with the horror genre. Um, you know,
tough to
I
do.
don't think it. I don't think that it worked that well with the horror genre at all. It was perfectly fine for fantasy and
Yep,
sci-fi, but yeah, horror. It's like because you have to have the aspects of insanity. It has to be very brutal. It's got to be um it's got to be more suspense based and more investigations and that kind of thing, and discovery
yep,
and and less about actual combat and more about freaking running, because that's
yeah,
you
yeah.
know that's
I mean, I
the thing.
played, like I said, we played Vesson for 8 hours the other
Yeah,
day. We didn't have a single combat. Like we encountered things that we could have fought, but just by looking
yeah,
at them, we were like, and
yeah,
coming from,
yeah,
I
yeah.
played a lot of Call of Cthulhu. I'm like, that's not going to work.
Yeah,
No,
I know. It
this
was like
pistol and saber I got is not going to do much here. Like other
yeah,
than get me killed.
yeah.
So I'm going to hide in the back of the barn.
Playing Call of Cthulhu in the early 80s back in the day was like second edition. It was like, all right, so there's three possible outcomes: death, total insanity,
Yep.
or you just said, fuck that, I'm out of here before you engaged anything.
I'm not,
It was like
yeah.
don't complete the don't even come close to completing the mission. No, wait, as soon as you get that one little spook, I'm done. It
I'm
was
done.
like, yeah,
Yeah, when I first started playing Call of Cthulhu, I had a great keeper for that, and
mm,
the whole group were kind of new to each other. And the way he explained it to us, he's like, "Well, in Call of Cthulhu, the way you start off, it's different than D&D." He said, "Because in D&D, you start off, you're not that great, and then you just rise to greatness." And he's like, "Call of Cthulhu, you start probably the best you're ever going to be, and you only get worse."
mm.
And he was right.
Yeah.
But with the right players, that descent is so much fun that
Yeah.
it
Yeah. No,
it's so in the right keeper and stuff like for
I
that
don't think
game.
I don't think when I played, because my friend Adam was the keeper for that. We had different games that we ran, different GMs for different games, and so God, I don't think we had any. I don't think I ever played a character that lasted more than two adventures. Um, just didn't. It was like boom, 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 boom. Always losing people. Always people
Yeah,
losing their minds. Or always like, oh, the hell with. Like I said, those three categories. The hell with that. We're not doing that.
yeah,
And then
we did.
throw a consequence at us that would end up getting us killed or insane anyway.
Yeah,
So it was like,
yeah, we did two one shots,
hmm
and they were the Call of Cthulhu, like
hmm
not the pulp. And the first one, we had everybody like my character went homicidal. I killed a couple of the characters, and then we were escaping, and then the guy driving our truck had to make a drive check, and he totally failed it.
yeah,
And he drove right into this barn, which was the distillery for this bootlegging
yeah,
operation, and we just blew up and died. And then the next one, we all died. Like I think my character might have he died like 6 months after
yeah.
the session ended because of some nasty stuff he contracted. When we did mass during COVID, that took about a year, and I know my character because we played pulp for that because it's pulp's better for long-term games.
Mhm,
Um, I had two characters in that game. I my first character eventually willingly went over to the dark side
mhm,
to the great powers there to save everybody else that he was with, And then my second character, well, we all died in the end. So it was, but I had 2 in that. And I think I want to say everybody in the group, I don't think there was a single character that made it all the way through.
Yeah. It's
I'd
not
have to go
nice
back
to
and look
say
at my
that.
notebook.
I
If they did, I'd be impressed. It was tough.
at a
Even in
convention,
pulp, like some people don't like pulp, I guess, because they think it's too easy, but I didn't find it that way. I found it
so
pretty
at
perfect.
Rising Phoenix Convention, which is the shirt I'm actually wearing, I played this for the first time. Weird Frontiers, yeah, it's huge. And actually, they come together. So this is actually, it's like 900 pages. The PDF is both books combined, so it's 900 pages. But
who makes that?
this is DCC Goodman. Well, it's
Goodman
not
Games?
like Goodman. Yeah, it's not. It's actually not Goodman Games, but they work with them. I guess it is.
Frog Rod or
No, it's a separate.
I've seen that cover before, but I didn't know anything about
Yeah,
it.
it
I like
uses
Weird
DCC
West stuff.
system. Who the heck is this? It's not like a company. It's just an author that I'm seeing. It's maybe it is. Maybe it is. No, it's compatible with DCC core book.
What's the name of that again?
It's called Weird Frontiers.
Weird Frontiers. I'll be right back.
Yeah. No, I have to look it up and see if I can find who's the publisher. It's self-published. Oh, no. Well, no, it says. Nope, it's self-published. It certainly mentions Goodman Games, but it's self-published. If anybody knows, specifically, you can jump in there and just talk about it. Mention who it is specifically. All I see here is that it's compatible with DCC RPG by Goodman Games. Gives credit to Goodman Games, but I think it's published as Weird Frontiers. So self-published book, from what I can tell. If anyone wants to jump in, I put the link in. And so the link is right there. I think it's self-published. It just says Weird Frontiers. It says by Weird Frontiers. And it's just published by them, by this one author. But he certainly worked with Goodman Games. I mean, he gives them credit up the yin-yang, for the
cover looks like a...
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, it was so much fun. Like, both my characters died. But they died in such a, especially the first one, died in such a dramatic way that I think the rest of the players just went like nuts, and the game master was like, that was the coolest thing. And at this convention, you would get tickets, right, for that you could exchange for in the shop to buy things, right, the trade for the tickets. So he gave me both of his tickets. He was like, oh, you deserve these 2 because of what you did. Basically my character was on one of those pump cars on the rail track, and it was loaded with explosives. And I was playing I was like a zombie sledgehammer wielding guy, so super, super strong. And I was like, screw it. We had this other like monstrosity that looked like the big bad boss in Resident Evil, when I was, huge monstrosity things coming at us on a push cart going the other way. And I was like, I'm just going to keep on going, and I'm going to try to leap off in the last moment and just let the explosion take out everybody. And he was doing the challenge, that the GM was doing the different strength checks to see if we close distance faster than what I could perceive my moment to jump, would be. And, I got a super high roll on the strength roll, and he must have done the same. And I just didn't jump in time. Like, there was no way I could jump in time. So I just went, right into him. Whole thing blew up. I was obliterated. He still walked away, but he was so screwed up from it too that it only took them one round to take him out of the fight. And then my second character that I had was like a gunslinger, right? So he had a thing where he could do like a rapid fire with his single action pistol, and you would roll.
Oh,
Yeah, you would roll a D24 followed by a D20 followed by the 16, the 4. You would go down. You kind of do like a walking hits down, and you would roll, the different things down, and then my weapon jammed, and then I got overwhelmed and basically obliterated. And the game was just so much fun. And I was like, I got to get that thing. And the guy was like, it's almost impossible to find the hardcovers.
yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm on
Yeah,
the Goodman Games website, and they have it in stock, but they're like they got the last of it. I guess it sells out really quick.
yeah. It's like I got it from Drive Through. All right, because Drive Through did a bundle in the hardcover, and
Oh,
it was
they don't
both
offer that now. I was just on their website, just on drive-through. They only
Drive
have
Through.
it in
Yeah, no,
PDF now.
it was a limited time bundle or whatever. It was like $100 for both books plus the PDF, and I was like, all right, I'm just getting it now because it was worth it to me. I will definitely run this because it was that much fun. So I would definitely run this at a convention sometime soon.
Yeah, I may have to order that. Oh, geez,
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Now there's another one, very same theme, right? Weird West theme, and that is that's put out by that's using the Savage World system. I'm fairly certain, and that's called. I have it someplace over here. That's called Deadlands. That's Deadlands.
oh
I got
yeah.
the first edition. The tickets that I won for this game and some other games that I was in, plus the games that I ran because I earned those tickets. I bought Deadlands first edition from them. It
Oh,
was, but the book was literally falling apart. Um,
uh,
and it's not even that old of a book. I was like, wow, this is like some really bad binding, because the pages were actually separating along like a perforation, that I was like, holy shit. I was like, I've never seen binding that bad before. But like I said, the book was free. So I was like, all right, that's fine. That's fine by me. But yeah, then I found this. I found this on Drive Through, so I grabbed it. Definitely worth it. I got to continue digging through it because, like I said, it's the rule book itself is $450. What's it? No, I'm sorry. It is 470. 470 pages on this one, and then the Tomb of Magic is like another 3 and change or something like that. And the PDF total was like 900 plus pages long.
yeah, I was just looking at it on Goodman, and they have it, and they say it's 900 pages to it.
Yeah, that's the
And it
PDF.
has
The PDF is 900
both those
pages.
books with it. What is the second book you had with it?
The second one is
Just two books?
is Magic Tome. So it's the magic system and this one here is did that say $399? Yeah, this one's 400. I have a delivery outside. I can hear it. Yeah, so this one's 400. So what I say 374, 400, that's 7. That's like 774. I don't know what the other 100 some odd pages are in the PDF. But yeah, definitely worth it, I would say. Now I am planning on, because I just recently did this. So What I'm doing is that I went into and I started looking up Robert E. Howard's Weird West stories, and
Yep.
you can get those all on. You can get those on Creative, not on Creative Commons. I mean, you can get them online. They're free. They're public domain. And so, I'm going to. The first one I'm going to adapt is the Horror from the Mound, and I'm just going to adapt it
Oh,
to the
nice.
game system, and I'll run a series of one shots, just
Yeah.
taking his taking his short stories, converting them, gamifying them, and throwing them up as one shots, and then that way it's like, all right, now you've played it, and here's a copy of the I'll just print out a copy of the short stories there, and it was like, that's what you just played, and just just convert them. I was going to do the same thing with the Conan, the 2D20, was just take the
Yep.
Savage Sword stories and just convert them, because they're so easily convertible, and just
So
just create adventures based on Savage Sword of Conan stories.
did you I know at one time you were working on your Skyrim conversion. Are you that
Yeah,
still
I
in?
dumped it because there was just too much involved with trying to convert the things that were in the Skyrim that weren't there, and
Hmm.
I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take CNC and put it into Greyhawk because it's my
Yeah.
favorite setting world anyway. I think it's
Yeah.
a setting world that's the most flexible, to just
Yep.
insert your own stuff into it as well.
For
I
sure.
mean, I have the books of Aird and all of that stuff, and the
Yep.
player's guide
I
for
do too.
Aird and all of that. I just don't have it in me to read through all of that and learn a whole new world,
Hmm.
when I can just jump right into Greyhawk without any
Yeah.
without any effort, to just jump into Greyhawk.
Yeah. I mean, I use my own setting for my games, but
Yeah.
yeah, Greyhawk's an easy one to just dive into and
Yeah,
and
the
use.
thing that stops me from homebrewing my own setting is I can never find a decent map. A map
Yep.
generator. I it's
So
like,
I have a maps are an issue. So my guys are always like, "We need maps," and I'm like, "I'm not a cartographer. I wish I was, but
yeah.
I've tried and I suck." But I did have this. I got this program called Wonder Draft. It was like $30, and it's you
Oh
can
yeah.
make maps in it, and it's pretty much just click and thing. There's a couple things I haven't figured out, and honestly, I haven't spent
Mm,
any time with it lately. But the thing I do is because my campaign is a West Marches style game.
mm,
When they have an overall map of the area around the town that
right.
they're currently centered in. So whenever they discover something, I can just put it on the map,
Yeah.
and and then a lot of times in game they'll ask, and I can pull up the map and I say, hey, this is what just so you have a rough idea
Yeah.
where things are. This is where they're at. I need to sit down and spend time with it and figure it out because it's going to get bigger than what I have. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I've
but
tried like
yeah,
what is it called? Agazars or something like that.
yeah,
World
there's some different ones.
Anvil
World
is
Anvil, yeah.
yeah, is I don't know,
This
it's
one was
too
pretty
complicated.
simple. I think I might have screwed it up in the beginning. That's why I can't do a couple things. But like to put things on there, it's not hard. Like you just
Yeah.
literally click on the icon, drag it, and you can populate whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And that works okay. I watched a couple of YouTube videos about it and it was only $30. So I was like, all right. And you own it, like you're not renting it.
Yeah.
Like
What's
some
the
of the
name
other
of
ones
that?
are actually called nope, that's not it. It's called Wonder Draft.
Wonder Draft.
Yeah. And they may be I haven't been on their website in a while, so they may have some more stuff on it, but for what I needed, it was for $30. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Like I said, I gotta mess around with it some more because we'll eventually leave the area that we're in now. So
All right.
um
I'll have to take a look at it. I'll mess around a little bit with it too.
yeah, it's not
Um,
bad. out of the ones that I've used, there was another one. I don't remember the name of it. I liked it, but it didn't have like you couldn't like once you put something on the map, it was there. So
Yeah,
like if you frigged it up, it was
it was
you rigged
permanently
it up.
there. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, well, this doesn't make any sense. How is there not like an erase button? Like how can I don't get it.
you have to
So, but
start from
other than
scratch.
that, it was actually kind of cool. And then there was a guy on YouTube. He's still on YouTube, WASD 20, and his claim to fame originally was drawing maps. Like he can
Mhm.
draw like really cool maps. And I think Wonder Draft is he did some videos on different map making
Mhm.
programs, and that was one of them. And that's why I think I first
Yeah,
saw it.
yeah. I'll check it out. I'll
I
take a look at it.
big thing is trying to figure out scale. Like
Yeah.
mine is always way smaller than it should be. Like no, this should be pretty
Mm.
big.
So, so I know I was watching your video the other day when you're, talking about your campaign. You're doing your campaign recaps and stuff. So,
Yeah.
always fun to see
Thank
those
you
things.
for watching.
And like I said, I've been waiting. We're waiting for one of our players to come back from like a 3 week, combination of like vacation and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, well, we'll probably still be in this orc lair, so don't worry about it. It's like this orc
Don't
lair
worry
is not
about
going to be a
it.
3 session thing. So as long as he's back for the for the next segment of it. So I was like, all right, that's cool. We're pretty good with that, and we're still like I'd say we're like 60% sandbox and 40% kind of, there is this underlying thing that that you have that that you have to follow up on. Because anytime that they've run really far astray, they've lost it. I think you're kind of hanging up there,
Mm-hmm.
Kato. But anyway,
My internet
so
being
yeah, your image is kind of blurred and slowed, but it's starting to clear
weird.
up a little bit now. Yeah, you're like freezing up and whatever. But anyway, as long as you can hear and talk, because you're
Yeah, I can
talking.
hear it. No,
Yeah. Um.
that's
So we
weird.
have that. I play in a Castle and Crusades campaign by this guy Ross. So but it's every other week. So I was like, great, that's perfect for me. So that's a Wednesday
Mm.
night game. I'm playing a cleric, so I was like, all right, cool. I kind of like playing clerics, every once in a while just to get a nice feel for playing that lawful good, kind of character, which is
Yeah.
very much than what I normally play. And so I was like, all right, that's cool. And so that gaming wise has been pretty decent. I've been trying to catch some of the stuff on, that's been going on. Like I saw Candela Obscura, and I saw it on the first night, but then I fell asleep. I was like, "There's no freaking way I can watch this thing until 2-3 o'clock
That
in
was
the
the same way.
morning." Yeah, it's like, no,
Nope.
I just can't do it.
Do it.
And I
Cool.
tried recording it. Actually, I tried recording it on my, using my Microsoft, the game recorder thing. The whatever you call it. I forget what
Mhm.
they call that. The X Play on the thing, and
Oh,
I don't know, it only recorded something like 2 hours of it, and none of the sound came through. So I had everything totally messed up as far as configured. So I was like, all right, I'll just wait. They shouldn't wait 2 weeks to show their next episode. So I'll just catch it when they go when they put it up on YouTube and check it out and see parts of it. But I liked it. I liked the fact that when they went there, they didn't know the game system that well, and they had to look and he had to remind them of certain things and everything. And I was like, all right, so you're actually showing what a real gaming table looks like, right? It's like, especially when you're
yeah.
running, I guess with the one shots, when they're running a different game than what they normally do, they're just like everybody else at the table, other than, they're voice actors, and they, have all of that down, and they still do their kind of, their in character banter, but it's still banter that has not much to do with advancing the gameplay, as it were. But they were, I was like, you know what? At least, maybe they kind of caught on to the fact that, the Mercer effect, and maybe that's the impact of it, was that, they don't mind so much. Oh, that's not the dice you roll. This is how you're supposed to roll for that.
Right.
And that happened a couple times.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched the stream, but I was like, you know what? That's a more.
Yeah, I did. I finished it today.
Yeah, that's a more realistic, and I think it's better for the hobby as a whole for them to show that.
Yep.
Was that, hey, you know what? We're actually playing this and not just.
Yeah, they're learning it,
Yeah. Yeah. So they're actually
Yep.
playing it, running it.
I've always
I think that and they did the same thing with The Legend of Zelda, which I watched the beginning portion of it, and and I got a pretty good gist of it. That, in my mind, could be the real deal. More so than, Daggerheart. If they secure the Legend of Zelda IP for an RPG, and they do it based on Illuminated Worlds, it's going to kill. It's going to absolutely kill the market. That Kickstarter will be a $20 million Kickstarter. You know what I'm saying? That will be the Kickstarter and Kickstarters. It will absolutely crush everything in its path, because you're going to, first of all, they'll be tying themselves to Nintendo, and I made a post about this too, and I was like, so it's not so inconceivable to think that Matt Mercer will jump ship from Hasbro, $8 billion a year corporation, and go to Nintendo, a $55 billion a year corporation. All right. It's a no-brainer. And the fact that Hasbro and Nintendo do not have a good history with each other, because they had done a Pokemon game previously, and they did not like Nintendo did not like the relationship. So I don't see them doing that. Plus, Matt Mercer is already the voice actor for for one of their shows, one of the Zelda characters, right? So I forget what his name was. Gandalf or something like that. It's almost like Gandalf, right? It's like, but he's one of their voice actors. I was like, so they already have a relationship with each other, and it's a positive relationship. And I can guarantee you that he's looking at Nintendo and saying, $8 billion a year, you're a scrub company, compared to $55 billion a year. And licensing wise, Legends of Zelda is as big as Dungeons and Dragons, absolutely as big as D&D. There's no doubt that will become the number one tabletop role-playing game on the planet if Nintendo ever decides, hey, we're going to. It will crush. It will absolutely crush. And I hope they do, because it will be better for everyone. That better for the entire hobby. That there is no company at the 51% mark. That there's a whole bunch of 25, 30, 15, percent of the pie kind of companies out there, because that's just going to generate just so much more emphasis on trying other things.
Yeah, they've always done like, 'cause I watched like their first season of Critical Role, which is my favorite. Like it was really good, and it was more like
Mhm.
people just sitting around the table playing D&D, and the story and the whole campaign was more in tune with what I like. But they've always done a really good job with their one shot. Like
Mhm.
they're small. They're I think Matt Mercer's biggest failing is that he sometimes just lets them meander too long. Like for
Yeah.
my taste, like
Mhm.
don't railroad them, but Jesus, you don't have to talk to every person in town. Like that doesn't mean anything. And with the one shots, they don't do that. They're much more focused, so it moves along pretty well because they know
Yeah,
that they
because
only have a
they
limited
know
amount
that
of
I'm not
time
gonna
ahead
have
of time.
26 episodes. Yeah. Yeah. They won't have 26
Yeah,
episodes to
yeah,
wrap it up, for just that season.
no, I mean, right. You got whatever. It was like almost 4 hours or whatever the Illuminated Worlds
Yeah.
were, but that was pretty good. It was. I mean, for me, I'm like, I'd like to see them do more of that and
Mhm.
more just for something to watch because I've tried
Yeah.
watching season 2, season 3, and they just don't interest me. Um, but for me as a consumer, I'm like, I already have Vesson. Like, I don't need, and
Yeah.
I like it. So it's like buying a
Yeah.
system. I don't see me picking up Illuminated Worlds, but I hope they continue with it, and I hope it does really good for them.
Yeah.
Because
If it's,
that's good thing it's
you
good
know,
for
if it's a
us.
fairly reasonable Kickstarter, I'll probably back it. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's, if it's a, if it's a 40, $50, kick, even if it's like 70, I could see backing it. If it's over 100, I don't know. I'm much more selective once you start pushing like $100 or so. It's like,
Trying to buy
you know
this.
what? I mean, I would have had to have played like with like with Weird Frontiers. I played it. I absolutely loved it. I had no problem dropping $100 on it, but this thing kind of untested. It's like, you know what? Um, I think the only other one that Shadow Dark, I paid like 150 for it, but I wanted the two books. So one book I'm going to give to my niece, and hopefully she'll leave
Yeah,
5e and start playing that. That's the only reason
yeah,
why
I
I did. I
bet
was like,
that too.
yeah, I'm going to get it. I got a $30 book that normally goes for 50, and I'll give that to her and say, hey, give this game a try. And if you don't like it, then give it back to me. But if you do, then it's yours to keep, and start running that game with your players, so they'll like it more than 5e. And
Yeah,
just as
yeah.
many as
I
I can
mean,
get
that's
away
been my
from
feeling.
5e is what I would like to do. Just expand, and broaden your horizons. That's what I'll tell
Yeah,
her.
biggest mistake I made as a young person getting into playing games is I was very myopic about what I wanted to
Mhm.
play, even within the game. Like
Yeah,
I was a Greyhawk guy. Like I played in Forgotten Realms, but I never ran Forgotten Realms.
yeah,
But then like Ravenloft came out, and I bought there's 3 books that I have. Well, I have a bunch of books, but like originally I had 3 books, and they were these compilation books by Van Richten's books, and
hmm
they were great. And I still use them to this day because they're all about all that stuff: undead, constructs,
right.
hags, all that stuff. They're a great resource. But I was very
Mm.
myopic. But I didn't play a lot of different games either. I mean, I played Star Wars E6, which was awesome,
Hmm.
and then D&D, and that's about it. Dabbled in Shadowrun. So there was so many games that I missed out on. I
Yeah,
always wanted to play Call of Cthulhu, but nobody wanted to play it. So now it's like if I get a chance to play 5e is like the last thing I want to play. I'd rather play
yeah,
like I got to play Vesson. I've played a game called Heart, which was really cool and
mm,
different, And
yeah,
there's so many great games out there that just to stick with
yeah.
one is.
The
I
only
mean,
game
I think
I
I actually took a phrase from you about. So if I want to play D&D, if I want to run D&D, Castles and Crusades, that's my
yeah,
D&D. That's
hmm
probably what I'm going to run for the rest of my days. But then I want to run other stuff too and play in other stuff that's different from that. I don't want to just play fantasy. Like I'd like to do some horror stuff. And now that Weird West thing looks pretty cool too. So I got that in my cart right now. So thinking about ordering that. Yeah,
the
there's
only
so many
game
good,
system.
great games.
Yeah. The only game system I've ever played that I absolutely could not stand and will never touch it again was Rollmaster. I just could
Never
not
played
play
it.
it.
Sounded bad
I,
from all the numbers, and
it
I'm not a numbers guy at
it
all.
took
So
it took 3 hours, literally 3 hours to do character creation, and I still only got
mm,
about 90% of it done. I left something like 250 points on the table. I was like, I don't give a shit anymore. I'm done with
yeah,
that. Then I went
I
into
have.
combat, and there's like 4 different charts that you have to roll, like you have to refer to on after you make your initial roll. You're only rolling once, but then you have to refer to like 3 different, charts
Mm,
or something like that, where it's like 2 or 3 different charts, and it's like I rolled a freaking 20 and I still missed. I mean, it's like what is because there was just so many different elements to actually hitting something, and then
yeah,
even if you did actually hit them, then you check your number on a different chart and you might have still done no damage and everything. I was like, this is the most ridiculous numbers crunchy thing I've ever seen. It was tedious from 1 second at the beginning all the way to the 3 hours of creating to the 2.5 hours of playing. And I was like, I'll never touch this game again. So yeah,
yeah. I
it
have
was
the
a nightmare.
Middle Earth role playing game from, I think the same company made it, MERP or whatever, back in the day.
I see.
Same
Yeah.
thing. Never got past character creation. Like, never
Yeah.
happened. Like, we started doing it, and the only good thing about that system was the art was awesome. But other than
Yeah.
that, the system was a no
Yeah. The
go.
art and the lore and yeah, just the information from it.
Yep. Yeah, that was really good. But
Mm.
system. So it's kind of
Systems.
like, to me, like Shadowrun. Shadowrun has one of the best settings ever, and with the
Yeah.
worst mechanics ever. Like,
Yeah.
we tried playing it, and it's not good. Like, just not good. Which is too bad, because it's freaking really cool system,
Yeah.
setting and stuff,
Yeah.
and
Setting.
the
Yeah. Just
history of it is really cool.
play the video games. They're pretty good
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, I have those.
The Shadowrun
They're
video
better
games are
than.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yep, I
Um,
have those. I have
yeah.
some of them. They're fun. They're fun. The
Yeah.
role playing game was not like, it doesn't make any, just doesn't work well for me at all.
Okay. Well, we're coming up on two
Oh, we're
hours,
pretty
so I'm gonna look to wrap this thing up.
fun.
So hey, thanks for
Yeah, man.
jumping in, and
Hey, thanks
keep
for
on
hosting. It was
keep on
fun.
putting up your recaps. I'll be checking those out, and
Yeah,
we'll see. I'll be
yeah,
doing another recap once they do something more significant. Like our last session, they killed about 10 or 15 orcs, and that was pretty much it. It was like, all right, you didn't do very much. It was like, oh, how much experience points we're getting? I was like, for orcs, I was like, I don't know, it's probably a couple hundred. It's like split
yeah.
7
It's
ways.
not a
So
lot.
it's like it's not going to be a lot. You didn't get a lot of
That's right.
treasure, but you used up a
Real
couple more spells.
Real quick,
So
that's one of the things my players and myself, with Castle and Crusades, really like, is the slow leveling.
yeah,
That,
yeah, it's very
I
slow.
mean,
Oh yeah,
we're
they
14
will
sessions
even.
in, I think, and they're like third level, like, and they're like, this is awesome. Like,
Yeah, no, that's
they really
about.
like, and I like it.
Yeah, we've been playing now for, like I said, almost 2 years, 92 sessions, and the the highest level character is she's in the high nines, or maybe she's level 10, druid, which druids level up faster than most. The
Yeah,
no, she's ninth level. It
yeah.
was the thief was 10th, but
Rogue,
thieves
yeah,
level
the rogue
faster than even
thieves are
druids
level
do as
fast.
well. Yeah, so they level fast, and he was a
Yeah, they do.
dedicated thief, so he went up really fast. Um, the paladin got a card from the deck of many things that gave him a level advancement on the next kill. That's the only reason why
Oh,
he's level 9. Um,
yeah,
Otherwise, he would have been like everybody else would have been like level 11, and he'd still be plodding along at like 8. So,
yeah.
and he was like, I know damn well I'm never getting to level 10. It was like this campaign will be long over by the time I ever get
Yeah.
there. He needs like something like another 180,000 experience points. I was like, dude, I don't
Yeah.
know. That's gonna be a long, long way off.
It's a long haul.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
my son's ranger is 4th level. He's the highest level, but he had a
mm,
like when I was learning the system, he and I played a couple short sessions together, and those counted.
yeah.
And then
Okay.
he's gotten a couple items like expert weapon and stuff and a magic item.
Right.
So he only got the experience for those. So that bumped him ahead of everybody. But
Right.
other than that, it's been great. Like just, you know, Christ, 14 sessions of 5e and you're at
Yeah.
least 5th level or so. It's
Yeah.
I like the slow leveling, but
Yeah. No, I
it's
do
a
too,
much
because
better
it
system.
allows for you to, think more about your character off the sheet, and,
Yeah,
worry more about, what does your character, how is your character interacting with the others in the group?
yeah,
What is your character looking to do? What does your character, it's just total, like I said, I mean, my hope is that the paladin decides that he's just not going to get his eye fixed, and that will be a part of his
usually.
character, is that, he has
Yeah,
a paladin with an eye patch, it's like,
yeah.
you know, and,
It's awesome.
there, oh, I found an awesome image for him too. It was like, oh no, look at this thing. It's so cool. I was like, this could be you after retirement and you're like 70 years old. It was like an old,
Yeah,
haggard looking paladin with a beard and
perfect.
and the eye patch and everything. I was like, this is your character. I mean, I can just envision it. It was like that. That will be the NPC that your new characters will be looking to
Right.
encounter, during
You're going
their,
to interact with him.
yeah. So, but anyway, all right, let me run I think my youngest one just got home too. So I'll check in on her. And
All
thanks
right.
for joining. And as
Hey,
always,
thank you.
look forward to, I know you're up in Maine. One of my players is
Yep.
in Vermont, so you're not too far from him.
No,
But,
no. I'm going to Vermont this
hey,
summer,
if
actually.
you could ever, like, I don't know how far, I'm sure it's probably a pretty long schlep to Marlborough, Massachusetts for you. That's probably what, like a 6-hour drive?
Um, Marble is. I can Google it right now.
Oh, not Marlborough, it's Milton, Massachusetts.
Milton, Mass.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, no, it's just under 3 hours.
Get the fuck. Really? Oh, you should go to that. You
Yeah,
should look up Rising Phoenix Con. Let me get the link.
Rising Phoenix. Let me write it down.
Yeah, Rising Phoenix. Rising Phoenix Con. Let's see. Yep, this is it. So this was at the Hilton, and why aren't I getting anything? I don't want crap. Oh, here we go. About us. Let's see. Nope. Home. They don't give the address on the home screen. But anyway, this is the thing. I'll put this on in the stream. So just check that out. Yeah, that's that's in Milton, Massachusetts. Let me do tabletop events. Tabletop events, and let's go here. And let me see. Milford, Massachusetts. Milford, not Milton,
Milford?
Milford. Yeah, Milford.
Mm,
It's probably still not that far. I could put that address in there too.
Actually, I think it's about the same.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah, 2
that
hours
is
and 7 minutes.
that is an absolutely awesome convention. That is on my sites every single year from now on. So next year will be their third time going. It's about 350 participants, so it's not a tiny one, and
Oh, wow.
it's not huge, and it is by far the best convention that I've been to. And
I'm
it's
gonna
just
try.
really
I've never been to any, and I'm gonna start.
oh,
Like, I got actually my friend that runs the shop. He wants me to go to Gamehole Con with him this fall, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to because having a kid graduate from high school is surprisingly
right,
expensive.
yeah,
But
yeah, but a
we're gonna
game
do.
hole,
We're already planning to do Gary Con next year,
yeah,
so um,
okay,
I want to do
yeah,
some. I've never
it's
done
just
them.
yeah, Wisconsin is just too far for me. It's like I would have to fly, and
Yeah, we will out of
because it's a
Portland.
15-hour drive, and once I
Nope.
have to
Yeah.
fly someplace, it becomes a $1,200 affair. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
becomes
that's what's killing me right now. Is I'd like to do Gamehole Con just because I've never, and it's more of a gaming one than anything
yeah,
else. So, but it's, like I said, my son just graduated, so uh,
yeah,
he's off to college in the fall. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I could do it, but it would
yeah.
be might not
Well,
be the
I'll
best
definitely
time to
remind
do
you
it.
about this
So
one
I'm
because
definitely
this one here, it was
yeah,
like
please do.
130 and it was like 130 a night for the room. Although I would just spend like the next time I go, I'm not going to go Thursday night, Friday. I'll just go Friday afternoon and then play all day Saturday and Sunday and leave Sunday afternoon. And make it a two
Yeah.
night affair. So it'll only cost about $300. Probably be like $80 for the ticket. And if you run multiple games, then it reduces the cost a little bit. But it was just a super cool convention. I mean, it was awesome.
Awesome.
So, and
That's
yeah,
awesome.
less than
Yeah,
3 hours.
I'm definitely interested in checking that out. 3 hours is not a
Yeah,
big deal for me. Like, I
yeah,
used to
3 hours
drive
is
10
not,
plus.
3 hours wasn't a big deal for me at all. I was like, wow,
Mhm.
this is really not that bad. And, and it was absolutely worth it. I will go there every single year.
Yeah, keep me in the loop
So,
on that when it comes up.
yeah, well,
I
yeah,
definitely
I'll
interested.
remind you and
Mhm.
I'll let you, yeah, when this stuff comes up and everything like that, because it ran in, it was in April too, which was a good time frame for it as well.
It's a good time of year.
Mid-April, so it's around like spring breaks and that kind of thing.
Yep, nice.
All righty. Well, you have a good one.
Hey, you too.
All right. And everyone, thanks for joining in. Up, there's no more viewers.